Confronted my step-niece who falsely accused my husband of exposing himself. Now my family is torn apart and her father is begging for forgiveness. Me, 30F, my husband, 35 male, my older sister, 35F, my sister's son Kevin, 14 male, her husband Joe 40, his daughter Kelly, 15F. My sister had a blended family with her bio son, her husband and her stepdaughter. I would say it was still a work in progress for them, but we all accepted and included Joe and Kelly into our lives. A few weeks ago, my husband and I organized a little get-together at our place to celebrate my birthday and for people in our family to spend time with our 6-month-old son. The people present were my sister and her family plus our parents, so very intimate and chill. Everything went well and nothing out of the ordinary happened. But some days after the gathering, my nephew Kevin came to our house and asked to speak to me about something concerning. For info, Kevin and Kelly attend the same school and have some mutual friends. My nephew told me that Kelly has been telling her friends that during the gathering she has seen her step-uncle's, my husband's, organ. She claims she was in the bathroom, my husband entered without knocking and he had his organ outside his pants, and this is how she ended up seeing it. This is absurd because my husband does not do this even when we are alone in our home, and honestly, who does that when they know they have guests over? So I asked everybody who were present that day to meet at my parents' house and confronted Kelly. She started crying and confesses she lied to her friends. According to her, all of her girlfriends have already had some sort of intimacy and experiences and she had none by this point. So she invented this story to look cool in front of her friends. I lost it. I called her a disgusting puss, a psychopath, and told her she risked my son's father's life just to boost her stupid social life among her friends. I told the rest of my family that going forward I will never bring my family near Kelly again. The consequences for this girl came fast. My nephew told everybody at school the truth. My sister and Joe went to school and informed the principal about what happened, so in case any teacher hears that BS they know it's made up so they don't take action. My parents cut contact with her and will not host her in their house anymore, and my sister refuses to have Kelly live with them, so she was permanently moved to her mother's place. Before you start judging my sister for this, please keep in mind that she has a bio son who needs to be protected. If Kelly could so easily invent and tell those things about my husband, who can guarantee she will not lie about her stepbrother too? Now Joe is obviously hurt and torn about everything that happened. He keeps telling me that Kelly is depressed and wants to apologize to my family, but I keep refusing. I explained to him that I don't need her apology and she shouldn't waste her time with this because I will never forget what happened or move past it. Joe keeps begging me to forgive her because she is just a stupid teenager, and maybe if my sister sees me forgiving her she will be willing to eventually accept Kelly back. I told Joe that a stupid teenager can have the power to ruin a man's life and reputation, so I am not risking it. Also, I fully support my sister and I want to protect my nephew too. Before Kelly was moved to her mother's, Kevin stayed with me and my husband for some days. So I don't regret my decision at all. I stand by everything that I said, but I feel bad for my Bill. Regardless of how messed up his daughter is, he is a great guy, respectful, and he really values the concept of family and honesty. Update 1. Before getting to that, I want to clarify 3 main aspects that keep coming around. We are all sure that Kelly lied. There is no debate there, no what if, no one has any doubts. Some of you really have a sick mind just like Kelly, so I can understand why you are taking her side. But please try to stop being so gross even for a little bit. I get that some of you speak from personal experiences, but for the love of God, not all deranged teenagers were victims of SA, and most certainly my husband did not SA her. For the ones who need things to be spelled out to them because they don't understand otherwise, stop sending me DMs claiming my husband is a predator, telling me I will regret when the truth comes out, calling me names for defending my husband, saying that I am protecting predators. I will keep on ignoring your messages. I will not lower myself at your level, and I will not entertain your delusions. Right now to me it seems the only predators is you, because otherwise you would not be such sick individuals wishing bad things to happen to people who you don't even know. You do not offend me claiming this is fake. If you truly believe the story is fake and I made it up, why would you waste time to comment? You are free to move on and just ignore me. I am not willing to forgive Kelly. I am not willing to allow her to apologize. I am not willing to ever have her near my family, meaning my husband and my son. My husband is not willing to do any of these things either. This is a shared decision and we will never have anything to do with this girl. Stop blaming me for what the rest of my family is doing. I do not command my parents, my sister, Kelly's father, or my nephew. If they cut contact with her, it was their own decision. We just told them our boundaries, but they can do what they want. Now into the update. As I said, I talked to my sister and some things are going to happen this week. First of all, Kevin is coming to our place tomorrow and will spend the entire week with us so that my sister and her husband can have time to sort things out. They plan to go visit Kelly at her mother's place, sit her down and tell her what is going to happen. My sister asked Kevin if he wants her to divorce or if he feels unsafe living with her husband. My nephew told her he does not want to ruin her marriage. He does not hate Joe even if he said it a couple of times. He does not feel unsafe with him, but he does not want to ever have to be near Kelly. My sister and Joe started working with a therapist to see if they can salvage their marriage, and it really helped them. So for the ones wishing them to divorce, they will not. The therapist explained to Joe that he can still have a relationship with his daughter while keeping his other family. 2. The only thing needed is for him to be willing to work for it. She also said that divorcing and giving up his own life and happiness is not a solution because where does it end? He divorces my sister, in a few years gets a new wife, and if Kelly does something again to that new family, is he going to once again give up everything he has and start over? He needs to see himself and Kelly as two different individuals with their own path in life. They don't need to be tied together to have a parent-child relationship, and he also needs to show to his kids that marriages are not jokes. You don't give up the first time something shitty happens. So they decided to work together for their marriage. They will let Kelly know how things will be from now on, meaning Joe will continue seeing and supporting her, but she will live full-time with her mother. Her mother is on board with this. She was part of these discussions. Some Redditor suggested in the future Kevin can stay at my place if they want to have Kelly over, and I suggested this to my sister. I told her that our house will always be open for Kevin, so we can do that if Kevin also wants it. I don't think he will refuse since he enjoys spending time with us and his baby cousin, but we need to see how he'll feel for the girl to be in his house. Right now Kevin is also in therapy because he has been having nightmares and violent outbursts when he hears about Kelly, so this will not be suggested to him anytime soon. The last time he heard about her he had a panic attack, started crying and shouting that he hates her and wishes we never met her. I am confident that with therapy he will go back to his happy self, but baby steps, he does not need to be rushed right now. We are all focused on his well-being and mental health right now, and the summer break will be perfect for him. The girl will also be moved to a different school during this summer. This is for both her and Kevin because they will not need to see each other in school, and she will avoid getting bullied. Her friends who she told the stories to went home and told the drama to their parents, so now Kelly is forbidden to ever go to these kids' houses since their parents don't want to risk it. I would want to say that I am surprised, but honestly I am not. No sane adults will have someone like her in their home and risk being accused of things. I am also somehow happy the adults who were close to her in one way or another are aware of what is happening, so they are able to protect themselves and not have to face what we did. So that's pretty much it for now. I think I will keep updating if anything interesting happens. I am excited to have my nephew here for the week. I will finally have my partner to game with since my boomer of a husband is not that much into games, so obviously not fun like Kevin. Hi friends, here's the wildest, most unexpected twist I never thought I'd be writing about, but the past 3 weeks flipped everything on its head, so here goes. Ever since Kevin came to stay, our apartment basically became game central, with enough pizza boxes and energy drink cans to shame a college dorm. He's been slowly decompressing, lots of late night gaming, long walks to the park pushing the stroller with my little one, and even a few heart-to-hearts with my husband. He's lighter, more himself, and, I'll admit, the whole being the cool aunt thing is doing wonders for my ego. He even let me beat him at Mario Kart, once. But I could tell he still had stuff simmering underneath. It started last Friday, when Kevin suddenly asked if it was possible for me to help him get in contact with his old school counselor. At first, I thought he was just anxious about changing schools or his therapy sessions, which have been ongoing and are working, slowly but surely. But then, he spilled, apparently, a few days before, one of the kids from school, Dennis, messaged him saying that Kelly was in some kind of trouble at her mom's new apartment complex. Not related to our family, but with an older teen in the building, a boy named Liam, who'd convinced a few girls he was some kind of TikTok influencer. Yes, really, apparently this works these days, and got them to hang out in his apartment. It seems Kelly, still desperate for friends and attention, went along. Long story short, Kelly claimed this Liam pressured her into doing pranks for his followers. Stupid things, but one really crossed the line when she was dared to mess with a neighbor's dog, filmed, humiliated, and the videos were on his private story for a while. She was mortified, and, according to Dennis, finally confessed to her mom, who decided to contact the building manager and the boy's parents. I only know this because, weirdly enough, Kelly's mom contacted my sister for advice, and my sister relayed everything to me, quietly exhausted. Their approach, minimal drama, no police, but immediate cutoff from Liam, and Kelly started therapy there too. Honestly, it's clear the girl needs serious help, and I will admit, my first reaction wasn't exactly kind, but after everything, can you blame me? But Kelly's screw-up had dominoed. Parents from our old school started a group chat and began circulating rumors, as parents do, sigh, most of them wildly inaccurate and a few bordering on satanic panic levels. Here's where it gets nuts. An anonymous concerned parent emailed both Kevin's counselor and the local PTA, claiming ongoing unsafe behaviors in multiple families, including ours, based on completely mangled versions of the Kelly incident, mashed up with Liam's prank videos, and even mixing up which adult did what. I found out when the school counselor called me personally. For the record, she knows the truth, trusts Kevin, and shut it all down inside the school, but the ringleader parent wouldn't drop it. Suddenly, my poor husband, an accountant whose wildest hobby is fantasy football, became the subject of concerned playground gossip, again. Here's where a bit of internet wisdom came through, courtesy of you all. Instead of another family summit shouting match, we got ahead of the situation. I called Dennis's mom, who I had met a few times after carpooling with Kevin. I explained the truth, calm, concise, limited personal details, and asked her gently to help me put out the fire. I then drafted a factual, non-emotional letter to the PTA, with my sister's input, reiterating that Kelly and her mother have moved, the kids no longer see each other, and that anyone with real concerns should talk directly to the school. Since then, rumor mongers have slunk off. It helps that the principal started calling it the TikTok telephone game and asked people to get a hobby. But the most unexpected development was Joe. I have to give that man credit. He handled all this with humility I didn't know he possessed. He asked to meet with me, just me, in a coffee shop a town over, neutral ground, I guess. He apologized, again, for everything, and then admitted something surprising. After watching what Kelly went through with this new influencer disaster, and how the parental pile-on spiraled, he realized just how quickly a vulnerable, insecure teen can spiral out when there's no bedrock support left. He wasn't excusing Kelly's lie about my husband, and made that clear, but he was pleading for some small seed of empathy for her. Not forgiveness, not reinstatement in our family, but just a little bit of mercy, in words, not deeds. He then slid 2 letters across the table, one from Kelly, one from himself. I told him I wouldn't promise to read them, but he just said, "That's okay. You decide." That night, I did. Kelly's letter, it was awkward, rambling, with lots of crossed out lines, and not full of charming admissions. She wrote about being angry, alone, not understanding consequences, desperately wanting to fit in somewhere, about feeling like our family didn't want her there, which, fair, since we all saw her as Joe's add-on kid. She didn't blame me, but she tried to take responsibility, apologized to Kevin by name, and asked that I please just remember me as more than the mistake. She hoped she could grow into someone better. Joe's letter was short, but he told me he'd decided the best thing for Kelly was not to force her back into our circle, or to keep begging for our forgiveness, but to give her time, space, and therapy. I know I can be her dad, help her grow, and not expect you or my wife or Kevin to do any more than you're already doing, he wrote. He asked only that I tell Kevin Joe loved him like a son, not a step anything, and that our door was always open for Kevin, no matter what happened with Kelly. Maybe I'm getting soft, or maybe being around Kevin, and my perfect potato of a baby, makes a person more human, but I've started to see the shapes of repair, not redecorating the house and welcoming Kelly in for Christmas, but something smaller, like a truce. And as for Kevin? He's working his way back, one long walk, one rage quit gaming session, one day at a time. Things are still imperfect. But a strange optimism has crept in, a feeling that shunning and screaming isn't the legacy I want looming over our family forever. So, where does it all stand? No, I haven't asked Kelly over, and neither has my sister. No, she isn't likely to be at any birthday parties. But yes, Joe has a relationship with both kids, and with my sister, because they choose to talk, to hurt, but not to cut each other away entirely. Yes, my parents are still team cut her off, but I sense some softening there too, now that the panic phase has ebbed. And as for me, I maintain boundaries, but I'm keeping my heart a little less hardened, for Kevin and for myself. Update 2. So, setting the scene, Kevin finished his week with us, and honestly, it was one of the best stretches we've had. He started opening up more, not just gamer banter, but some of the darker, messier stuff too. He told me he's been having recurring dreams about the whole Kelly incident, but with a weird twist. The faces change, sometimes it's him being accused of something he didn't do, other times it's my husband, awkward family symbolism, anyone? That's therapy fuel for sure, but he's learning to talk about it, which I think is huge. My husband, for his part, has kind of become Kevin's sounding board in the most unexpected way. They started taking nightly walks together after dinner, talking about everything from sports to how hard it is for guys to show they're upset. At one point, Kevin straight up apologized to my husband for everything, even though no one in the family blames him for a single thing. It broke my husband a little. I caught him wiping his eyes in the kitchen after, pretending he was just chopping onions even though he wasn't even making dinner. It's been like having a second teen son for us, and honestly it's healing in a way none of us expected. But, of course, neither side of the extended family can leave anything alone. The first big twist, Kevin's school hosted the annual Family Careers Day. Ironic, right? And some parents who still believe the rumors vetoed both my husband and Kevin's involvement, even though the principal tried to intervene. Kevin's thrown for a loop, and my husband is livid but determined not to show it. We end up doing our own career day at home, video calling a couple of my techie friends, and even got my husband's old college roommate, now a mechanical engineer in Germany, to surprise Kevin with a demo on robots. It warms Kevin right up again, but still, the wound from the school? It's there. Meanwhile, over at Kelly's mom's place, things were not going well. After the Liam incident blew up, thanks, TikTok, for giving every 17-year-old the illusion of stardom, Kelly's new therapist noticed something that hadn't come up before. Kelly was self-harming. Nothing life-threatening, but she was using safety pins to scratch phrases onto her arm. Liar, stupid, don't fit. Kelly's mom called Joe immediately, which kicked off Family Summit number 22. My sister and Joe agreed to meet Kelly, with her therapist present, at a neutral space, a little community center room. Here's where things got surreal. Kelly's therapist suggested, with Kelly's consent, that my sister, Joe, and, surprisingly, Kevin all write letters to Kelly, anything they wish they could say, without having to be in the same room as her. My sister's was short and tough. She can't trust Kelly, but she doesn't wish her harm. She hopes she finds help. Joe's was more emotional, telling her he'll always be her dad and will never stop hoping she gets better, that her actions have consequences but she's not just her worst mistake. Kevin's was, God, it was heartbreaking and brave. He said he never wanted to see her again, but he hopes she stops hating herself and starts thinking about how she can do better, for her sake and for people who ever try to care about her. The therapist read the letters aloud, and Kelly reportedly sobbed through the whole thing, but the difference this time was, she didn't storm out or scream or play the victim. She apparently asked, for the first time, if she could try again when she's older, if she works and changes and proves she's safe. My sister told her, maybe. But this has to come from you, not just words. It wasn't reconciliation, no bear hugs, no apologies accepted, but it was, I guess, a crack in the wall. Now for the bombshell I truly did not see coming. Kelly's biological mother reached out to my parents. That's right, my parents, who had all but deleted Kelly from the family group chat and blocked her number. Apparently, Kelly's mom is worried that completely cutting Kelly off from all extended family is just cementing a monster label so deep she'll never climb out of it. She wants to know if my parents would agree to send her a birthday card, no visits, no calls, just a card. My parents, after days of stone-faced deliberation, texted me to ask what I thought. Me. Like I'm the oracle of family policy now. I'll be honest, the idea of my parents softening, just a little, made me sick at first. But then I remembered something Joe said, there's no magic action that makes you safe again, but maybe there's a path. So I told my parents, if they wanted to send a card, it wouldn't erase what happened, and I wouldn't bring my husband or child around Kelly, but it also wouldn't kill us to acknowledge she's still alive, and still, technically, family. And now, the biggest shocker of all, in the middle of all this mess, Kevin got a message from an old friend, one who'd dropped him when all the drama was fresh. The friend apologized for going cold, said their parents had basically forbidden them from talking to Kevin, and wanted to reconnect. Kevin was so anxious about it, but after hours of deliberation, and way too many Oreos, he decided yes. They went skateboarding, and Kevin came home smiling in that careless preteen way I genuinely thought we'd lost. He later told me he likes knowing at least some people can see through bad gossip if they wait long enough. What did I learn this round? The ecosystem of family fallout is weirdly resilient. Shunning isn't a permanent solution. It calcifies the wounds, yeah, but it also gives people space to actually want to change. Kevin may never forgive Kelly, but he forgave an old friend. My parents may never host Christmas with her, but a card is a start. Even if Kelly never sits at our table again, her existence isn't forbidden to mention. The rules are less black and white, and maybe a little more grown up. Kevin's staying with us for most of the summer, his own choice this time. My sister and Joe are back to weekly therapy, and I'm about 90% certain our family group chat will never recover its pre-drama innocence. As for my husband? He's okay, really okay. He finally signed Kevin and himself up for a charity 5K, and posted their registration to his fantasy football chat with this caption. Turns out this summer, we run toward things instead of away. Update 3, buckle in, because real life just keeps getting messier, so I'd love to give you all the tidy. Family learned their lesson and now things are normal fairy tale. But real life has other plans. After the mini thaw from the birthday card olive branch and Kevin's hesitant return to social life, you might think we'd be on a gradual, peaceful climb out of the crater. Not even close. The family drama universe apparently heard we'd gotten semi-stable and decided, what if another plot twist? The thing started quietly. My dad, yes, the same man who was 0% on forgiveness and 100% on heavy-handed pronouncements, called me in the middle of a workday, voice so tense I honestly thought something had happened to my mom. Instead, can you come over? We had an unexpected visitor. Cryptic? Of course. When I get there, my mom is pacing their den, and across from her, in one of my dad's faded plaid recliners, sits Kelly's biological mom, Nina, blinking away the awkward silence and clutching a bunch of papers. Turns out, Nina had something beyond a birthday card in mind. She had documentation. In the weeks since everything imploded, Kelly's new therapist arranged for a full psych evaluation, at first, just for self-harm concerns, but it turned deeper. The summary, at least as much as Nina explained, was that Kelly's pattern of lying, risky attempts for validation, and even the previous storytelling had an underlying root. She'd finally been formally diagnosed with borderline personality disorder traits, along with severe social anxiety. I should say, we've suspected something neurodiverse for a while. There were hints, years back, but nobody pressed or got real answers from Joe. Messy custody always complicated things. Nina practically begged my parents to at least read the summary, to understand that, yes, Kelly did something terrible, but also she wasn't just a rotten seed set loose to poison the family. My parents are still old school and cautious, but this whole situation cracked even their armor. Dad read silently for a bit, then stiffly said, I don't know what you want from us. Nina asked them to attend a family circle at the clinic, not with Kelly present. No one is pushing that, just to hear from therapists about what next steps look like. If I'm being honest, part of me wanted to scream that a diagnosis doesn't erase risk. But part of me, a bigger part, now that I've watched Kevin battle nightmares, and Joe try so hard to stitch together love and consequence, was just exhausted, and wanted to trust the professionals. Eventually, my parents agreed, probably more for the let's put this behind us logic than sudden compassion. That session just happened last week, and readers, it was surreal. 3 generations, 2 branches of our splintered family, sitting in a softly lit office as a young, calm therapist explained what BPD means for a teenage girl's sense of self, and what's possible with years of therapeutic work. No, it's not the kind of now everyone hugs moment, but for the first time, I saw both my parents and Kelly's mom replace blame with a weary, skeptical curiosity. They even asked questions, about boundaries, about safe contact. Safe meaning still no unsupervised visits, no contact with our immediate family, obviously. As for our little trio at home, it's become a sort of safe bunker. Kevin's sleeps have gotten less haunted, especially after I set up a nightmare phone. If a bad memory wakes him up, he can come talk, no matter how late. So far it's only been 3 times, but we're all less scared of the dark now. We even take rage walks, just marching at full speed while venting about school, adults, social media disasters, whatever. But every healing story is apparently due for one more pop quiz. Last weekend, after a sweaty afternoon at the park with Kevin and my sleeping baby in a stroller, I ran into, you won't believe it, Kelly. Not a planned meeting, not some parent-arranged random intervention, just her, nervously waiting for the city bus, earbuds in, staring at her phone. She saw me, froze, and kind of wilted, like she wanted to disappear into her baggy hoodie. For a second, I wanted to keep walking. Then she took one earbud out, and in the smallest voice said, "Hi. Is Kevin okay?" I told her the truth, that he's getting better, that we're all doing our best. She looked both relieved and like she'd been slapped. I wasn't ready to linger for some forgiveness summit, and frankly, I felt a little protective of Kevin's privacy, but then she said quietly, "I hope you win Mario Kart sometimes, too. Even if you cheat." She tried a smile, and for the first time, zero drama, zero manipulation, just lonely kid energy. I didn't invite her for coffee or anything, still not even close to that. But when I got home, I told Kevin. He just shrugged, an almost adult move, and said, "She'll probably mess up for a while. I just want her far away. But I hope she can cool it someday." Joe called that night, asking if I was okay. When I told him what happened, he actually sounded grateful. And, this surprised me, he asked, just once, if we'd be willing to send a note to Kelly when she turns 16. Not forgiveness. Not a ticket home. Just a note, from the family she wished she'd been part of, reminding her that change isn't impossible but trust takes time. We haven't decided, my sister is still raw, and our main job is keeping Kevin safe. But I will say this, we're not friends, not enemies, but maybe, no one is frozen in place forever. The old wounds gape, but there's less poison in them every day. Meanwhile, Kevin's back at our kitchen table, arguing with my husband about sports stats, my baby son babbling at both of them. And for now, that's enough. Maybe this is what healing looks like, not a group hug, not erasure, but a slow, meandering walk through the fallout, dignity intact, boundaries strong, seeing every member of our messy family as someone still rewriting their story, even if they're not in our next chapter.